everyone, welcome back to our channel and welcome back to this episode. This is the Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger Wisdom series. Today we are exploring Warren Buffett's 1986 letter to Berkshire Hathaway shareholders, an year when the company gained 26% while Buffett grappled with new challenge, having too much money and not enough good places to invest. This letter isn't just about the complaints, it's about timeless principles. This is when Buffett introduces his famous moat around the castle metaphor, delivers his iconic advice about being fearful when others are greedy, and shares profound insights about what really creates lasting competitive advantages. We'll also explore his philosophy on hiring people bigger than we are and why he believes the best managers think like owners, not employees. The economic moat concept. The insight here being that the best businesses have moats around their competitive position that protect them from competitors, just like a castle has a moat that protects it from invaders. Buffett's perspective here being that when discussing Geico's success, Buffett explains that their rock bottom operating costs create a kind of moat that protects a valuable and much sought after business castle. Geico's expense ratio was just 23.5%, while many competitors were 15 percentage points higher. As he puts it, no one understands this moat around the castle concept better than Bill Snyder, the chairman of Geico. He continually widens the moat by driving down costs still more. Why it matters. This metaphor became the foundation of modern value investing. A moat isn't just about being good, it's about having sustainable competitive advantages that are difficult for competitors to replicate or overcome. In terms of modern applications, when evaluating any company today, ask, what is their moat? Look for businesses with network effects like Facebook, switching costs like enterprise software, scale advantages like Walmart, or brand power like Apple. The wider and deeper the more durable the profits. Be fearful when others are greedy. The insight here being, we simply attempt to be fearful when others are greedy and to be greedy only when others are fearful. Buffett's perspective out here. Writing during a bull market, Warren Buffett observed that little fear is visible in the Wall Street. Instead, euphoria prevails. He noted the dangerous disconnect where rewards to the owners of businesses become uncoupled with the plodding performance of the businesses themselves. His conclusion, stocks can't outperform the businesses indefinitely. Why does it matter? This reveals the psychological discipline required for successful investing. The best opportunities come when everyone else is panicking, but that is precisely when it's the hardest to act. Conversely, when everyone feels great about the market, that's when danger lurks. In terms of modern application, track market sentiment indicators and investor surveys. When everyone is optimistic and buying, be cautious. When headlines are doom and gloom and people are selling, start looking for opportunities. Remember that as an investor, your best friend is Mr. Market's mood swings. Hire people bigger than you are. The insight here being that if each of us hires people who are smaller than we are, we shall become a company of draws. But if each of us hires people who are bigger than we are, we shall become a company of giants. Buffett's perspective. Quoting advertising legend David Ogilvy, Buffett explains their management philosophy using golf analogy. If my job were to manage a golf team and Jack Nicklaus or Arnold Palmer were willing to play for me, neither would get a lot of directives from me about how to swing. He adds, we intend to continue our practice of working only with people whom we like and admire. Why does it matter? Most managers hire people who won't threaten them, but the best leaders seek out people who are more talented than themselves. This requires confidence and ego control, but it is the only way to build truly exceptional organization. In terms of modern application, in any hiring decision, ask yourself, am I hiring someone who will make me look good or someone who will actually be better than me? Choose the latter. Surround yourself with people whose strengths complement your weaknesses, not people who make you feel secure. The owner earning concept. The insight here being that real business earnings aren't what GAAP accounting shows. They are what Buffett calls owner earnings, reported earnings plus depreciation minus the capital expenditures needed to maintain competitive position. Buffett's perspective. In his detailed appendix, Buffett demolishes the cash flow policy that Wall Street loves. He shows how Scott Fitzgerald looked like it earned 28.6 million under GAAP, but actually earned 40 million in economic reality. As he put it, I would rather be vaguely right than precisely wrong. Why does it matter? This cuts through accounting noise to understand what business actually generates from its owners. Many businesses that look profitable on paper are actually destroying value when you account for the reinvestment needed to stay competitive. In terms of modern applications, before investing in any company, calculate their owner earnings. Look at cash flow statements and ask, how much does this business really need to reinvest just to maintain its position? Businesses that grow without significant reinvestment are the holy grail. This brings us to the Charlie Munger corner. While Charlie's direct quotes are limited in this letter, his influence is clear in the analytical rigor and focus on finding businesses with sustainable competitive advantages. The entire mode concept reflects Charlie's influence on focusing on business quality over cheap prices. The spotlight quote for this episode: we simply attempt to be fearful when others are greedy and to be greedy only when others are fearful. This quote captures a contrarian mindset that is essential for investment success, having the emotional discipline to act opposite to the crowd when it matters the most. Let's have a look at the actionable takeaways from this particular letter. What is it that you can do today? Firstly, you can map the modes of the companies in your portfolio, you can practice the contrarian thinking, and you can calculate owner earnings for potential investments. When we are talking about mapping the modes of companies in your portfolio, for each investment, write down exactly what protects that business from competition. If you can't identify a clear mode, reconsider the investment. Secondly, practice the contrarian thinking. Start tracking market sentiment indicators and your own emotional reactions to the market moves. When you feel optimistic, ask what could go wrong. When you feel pessimistic, ask what opportunities am I missing. And lastly, calculate the owner earnings of potential investments. Look beyond the reported earnings to understand how much capital a business really needs to reinvest. Focus on businesses that can grow without proportional capital increases. In wrap up, we can say that the 1986 letter showcases Buffett at his most insightful, introducing concepts that became the cornerstones of modern investing. The mode metaphor alone has influenced generations of investors to think about sustainable competitive advantages rather than just quarterly earnings. Most importantly, this letter demonstrates the psychological discipline required for investment success, the ability to remain rational when others are emotional, and to act contrary to the popular sentiment when the evidence warrants it. Next time, we'll explore another classic letter wherein Buffett shares more timeless insights. Don't forget to subscribe and let me know in the comments which concept from this letter resonated most with you and your own investment approach. That's all that we have for you in this particular episode. Next time, we'll explore another classic letter where Buffett shares more timeless insights. Don't forget to subscribe and do let us know in the comments which concept from this letter resonated most with your own investment approach. Thanks for watching. Do stay tuned for the next episode.